everyone, Staci Wallace here with Larry Wallace and Alexia Wallace, and we have just gotten back from our Mexico missions trip, and we took 11 people down there with us. Of course, you can see them on this screen, and tonight we wanted to come back and just share with you what happened to us. We went down there thinking that we were going to be a blessing to the people there, and wow, we were the ones blessed. Our lives changed, our perspective shifted, and all of us wanting to do something more than even what we were able to do while we were there. Many of you know Puerto Vallarta, Mexico as a luxury location that a lot of people go, tourists travel to, but very short, once you get off that strip, is a stark contrast of a reality that people live in poverty every single day. We wanted to come back and not only share our testimonies of what happened to us, but share with you how you can help get involved and help us make life better for the children that are down there. There's a school called the School of Champions, and every single day they're reaching into an area called the dump where families are literally living off of the trash and just whatever they can find to eat. And this school is actually not only providing education and tutoring, but it's also providing hope and inspiration. We had the opportunity as a team to go and share our stories of hope with them, and we fell in love with the children. We asked them, what is the need that you have? They said, we would love to have electricity, our own transformer running to the school so that we could actually provide computers in the future for these children and give them a way of escape. Most of the parents don't even let them go to school because they want their kids out on the street selling, trying to find money. And so doing this in that area would give something for the parents to want to engage their children in, to give them hope for a new future. So we're just going to go through real quick and let you hear what happened to each one of us on this trip. I'm going to start with Karen Imhoff. Karen, tell us about the Mexico mission trip and what it did for you.
Well, Staci, I think probably the thing it did the most is made me very grateful for the times and the places in which we live, you know, just the everyday conveniences in life that you just take for granted. You don't think about it. And there we get, you know, down there and to see the simple things that they didn't have, you know, the ability to have air conditioning, the ability to have the abundance of food that we have, all the conveniences that we have, and then to still see the kids were really happy. I mean, there was a sense of contentment and peace that was even in the faces of the children who were hurting the most or the families that were hurting the most. And I think that whole sense of family was just astounding to me, that that's where the value is for them, in that sense of community. And being down there in the midst of the kids, looking into those little faces, you know, the day that we brought out the toys, I thought, you know, one ball between 25 kids. That to me was just unbelievable. A shelf that had maybe 6 or 7 toys on it in the midst of an entire nursery school. We have, you know, boxes and tubs and, you know, rooms full of toys for our kids here. Those are the things that I don't think I'll ever be able to forget it. I am drawn back. I find myself dreaming at night of those little kids, you know, just having that sense of consciousness about it now that I don't think I've ever had before until you actually lay eyes on it. It was moving and something I'll never forget.
One of the things that we are talking about when we're raising funds for these children, we're not talking about excessive things. We're talking about, I think it was Tony, we were talking about how important it is not just to give fish, but to teach people where we go and do missions, teach them how to fish. And giving them a fish is what we did down there, giving them toys and giving them food, giving them daily sustenance. That's giving them a fish. Raising money so that they can have electricity, so that we can get computers and education to these children, that's going to be teaching them how to fish and truly equipping and empowering their lives for a better future. Gary Craig, I know that you and Louise, you guys had an incredible time. Tell me, what did this trip mean to you, and why is this project so important?
Well, thank you, Staci, and it's sure great to be with all of you again. And what an amazing experience we had there. You know, to be very candid, in my life, I've had many opportunities to serve in various service projects of different kinds. I've been to some pretty destitute places in the world, like Nigeria and Malaysia. At the same time, I was very excited for this trip, and I just had a sense, even weeks and weeks before going, I had a deep internal sense that this was going to be something special. And I can tell you unequivocally that from the moment we first met at the church and met our hosts, essentially the group of volunteers, that all their time is without pay, and began to hear their stories and get to know them and what they do literally on a daily basis. I mean, the Herculean task of creating 500 meals for children at three large schools. It was an amazing experience, and that really set the stage. And one of the things that I want to really say that is important to me that I experience, and that is simply the trust that I developed for the leaders of this mission, this foundation, grew immensely to the extent that I have no problem personally sending money to this group, because I know it's going to be utilized in a very important way. You touched on the fact that we fed children. Yes, we fed them with food and sustenance. Mission, this group does that every day. Really dire situations where they live, their living conditions are truly some of the worst I've seen in the world. But this group also is doing something I think that is magnificent at the School of Champions, and that is they're taking and they're inviting these children out of these horrific conditions and giving them something of incredible value, which is education and opportunity. You know, there's not a whole lot that we can do to really solve a worldwide epidemic. There is a lot we can do on a micro basis in an area like this by providing better education. That is really the key to help some of these children really get out of where they're at. What Staci also touched upon, which is raising funds for this transformer. Just to be clear, the School of Champions does have some electricity. The problem is it's very poor electricity, such that there's surges and cutoffs, and because of the surges, when the power is constantly coming back on, it knocks. And so you're right, they can't have computers or televisions or any kind of electronic equipment. Bottom line, guys, it is an amazing place. You know, what we would, from our perspective, here we are in America, you know, we've got everything we need, more than everything we need. And yet these children live in such dire situations and circumstances. Yet out of this, there's this rose, this School of Champions that is coming up, providing opportunity of not only sustenance and food, but real educational opportunities. And we have an opportunity to make that dramatically better. I have no doubt, and I'm sure every one of you who are there with me, this is the beginning of, for us, an organization as a team of family and friends and loved ones can create. It's just the beginning of something magnificent. Back to you, Stace.
Excellent. Well, Alexia, I know you had a great time. You and your brother, Peyton's on here as well. You guys went down, and this was a real special mission trip. You know, one of the things that we always encourage is that you not only as a parent make a personal decision to live beyond yourself, but teach your children to do that as well. Alexia, you guys went down there, and I know that we were all very much changed. What did you get out of this trip?
Well, I was really happy when I got down there. I saw the kids. I thought it was going to be a little weird because I didn't speak Spanish. I knew a few words, but I thought it was going to be kind of weird that everyone's speaking Spanish and I didn't know how. And I got there, and I remember that one family, 3 girls, 1 boy, were so adorable. They came up to me, running up to me. They called me Cinderella. The next time we went there, they were hugging. They wouldn't let me go. They wouldn't leave my side. And when we left, they wouldn't stop hugging me. They loved me, and it made me feel really happy and blessed that I know that no matter what language we speak, that they always know what we're saying. They understood that what we were doing. We were trying to reach out to them, and I was happy about that.
So you life that there's two things that you love. One is veterinarian school. You want to be a vet.
I like animals.
And you want to do missions. Did this change your life? Did it touch you?
Mm-hmm. Seeing how we have running water, clean food, we live in a good house, and when we got there, a lot of people, they lived in a dump. They didn't have clean water. The water there, you had to remind me not to step in it because it was dirty and it had bad things in it, and it wasn't a pretty color. But also looking at some of the conditions of the homes, some of them were made out of twigs and branches, and another one was made out of porta potty stalls. And it reminds me how blessed I am to live in such a great, fantastic house.
Yeah, we came back. This is our first time to talk about it, I know. We came back and I walked into our house and I stood in our kitchen and I just spent the first 10 minutes just crying. We are so blessed in this country, and it is a stark reality when you see, and it was such a joy to see my kids walk and so love these kids. I mean, some of their houses, like she said, were made of plastic bags, just sticks, any scraps they could find, and the kids just sleeping on the ground, and realizing that those kids, they deserve a hope and a future. And that's why we're passionate. I don't know if you can feel our love for these people, but to know that $12,000 could give those kids a hope and a future and possibly a way of escape from the poverty, it makes me not only want to do something myself, but to want to give you the chance to be a part of that as well. I'm just going to jump over to Donna. I know that you have done a lot of missions work in Mexico and other areas before your husband, my dad, passed away. What did this do for you, seeing the people of Mexico and what we can do to make a difference?
Well, first of all, I knew what was about to take place because I was there in Mexico with my two little children many years ago. And then, of course, Dad and I had many years of working with the people of Belize and very similar situations. And I know that we always planned to go down there and be the blessing. But I was amazed even on the very first day that we walked in that these precious volunteers and leaders said, oh, the children have something for you. And the children had decorated paper sacks for us. Already they were blessing us before we could bless them. And the whole trip seemed to be that way, that the more that we gave out, the more we received. And I guess more than anything on this trip that I recognize these, again, I guess Gary said it best, that these workers, these volunteers are just absolutely amazing. We fell in love with their heart for those people. And if I could say anything, it's just to put a stamp of approval on this work that's there. We were able to verify completely the authenticity, the absolute integrity of this ministry and outreach that's there. I mean, when we saw, and I tell you, it's monumental what has been done already for these precious people. What was once the city dump has absolutely been completely, with this School of Champions, a hope and a future for these kids. And I tell you, the kids that once had no hope, now when Staci asked them, what do you want to be when you grow up? And one little girl said a veterinarian. A boy said, I want to be a professional soccer player. Another one said, I want to be an artist. And I tell you, before this, they weren't able to say that. They weren't able to say, they truly believe that they can be that now because precious people are pouring their lives into them, motivating them and encouraging them and telling them they can be anything, that God can do anything for them. And so I guess for me, it is just, I can say once again, I'm all in for this absolute beautiful, just a project that we can sink our teeth into and know for a fact we're doing good. And so I just encourage all of you. You know, you see a lot of programs on TV that are asking for funds and for help with water wells and with feeding the children. And we tangibly don't know those people. And though our heart pours out to it, we want to know those people that we're giving to. And you all know us. Those people that are watching this video and this hangout today, you know us as a group of leaders that are here. And we can tell you for a fact that each of us, we could not help but give. Each of us, while we were there, before we even went on this trip, each of us pledged to be able to give to this ministry and this outreach, and we all did that. But once we got there, that wasn't even enough. We had to go to the store and we had to buy toys and soccer balls and things for the daycares and things for the School of Champions. And I encourage you to join with us. God bless you all.
Excellent. Well, and again, we are excited because right now what we're doing is we're raising money. $12,000 is our goal. Of course, tax deductible funds. We gave you the information on the Fund Me page here so that you can see that this is going actually to an organization that each one of us, we have gone, we've seen it out, we've looked at these, we now know these people personally. Of course, Terry Mize Ministries, we have been associated with him for many, 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 many years. We were talking to him and he said, listen, I want you guys, all your funds, to go directly to the School of Champions, directly to this outreach. I don't want to be a middleman. A lot of big organizations, they'll use the funds for U.S. overhead and offices and being able to pay their employees. 100% of the money that we're given is going to be going directly towards this cause of getting them the transformer and the electricity into the school. So we would love to be able to know that's our school, that we sponsored that school, and that is something that we can continue to know that Team Solove and all of those who have partnered with us, whether you're with Solove or not, this is a worthy cause. You know, we always say have cell service with a purpose. Well, we really don't care at this point on this video who your cell carrier is. What we care about is let's make life better for many together. I want to jump over real quick. Joe Silva, you went on this trip, and just like many people that went on it, there were a lot of sacrifices you had to make. I know Tony Bowie had a son that had like 104, 105 degree temperature just that same week that we left. Concerned what's happening with my son. They found out that it was chicken pox. A lot of money drained on those hospital expenses. There were sacrifices that were made to go. Joe, we know your husband has not been well up until now. We're standing and believing for a miracle for him. But it was a big deal for you to leave your husband and your job, knowing that you're a sole provider right now of your household. And you gone meant that you were walking away as a hairstylist to all those people that you could be doing for an entire week. Joe, what did this trip mean to you?
Well, Staci, thank you for this opportunity to share a little bit with others. You know, I think it's just like each one of the ones so far that has talked, whether it was Karen or Gary or Donna, Alexia, and you, Staci, it is such a humbling experience to be able to go, to have an opportunity to share with other people the things that, you know, we are just so used to turning on the water. I know a few weeks ago our hot water tank went out, and it's devastating because we're so used to having hot water. Where there, if they have a trickle of water, they probably would be very happy. And I think that's one of the things that each one of us realize, that, you know, when you do have a heart to give and to give to others and to missions, and you see the children. I know Larry and I was serving one evening, and you know, it just breaks your heart. I just wanted to give them the whole tray and let them just walk off, and I could tell somebody I didn't know what happened to it. But it's amazing when you see little children that is basically happy to get a half of a hot dog. The day that we did hot dogs, we had to cut those hot dogs in half at the School of Champions. So, anything that we do to raise this and to be able to do this by the end of the year, to be such a blessing, to give that to them by Christmas would just be so rewarding for everyone. Thank you, Staci.
Excellent. Well, thank you, Joe. And Peyton has joined us here. And Peyton, I know a couple things happened for you on this trip. One was you gave your first message. I mean, you stood in front of the school and spoke and shared. Alexia, of course, sang. But you had a real heart-touching moment there at the School of Champions. Tell us what happened while you were there, and if you were looking at other kids who are going to be asking for thousands of dollars of technology this Christmas and more toys and more excess, more toys to sit on shelves, more games, what would you say to them?
Well, first thing, when I was there, I realized how much we have and how much we can actually give. Like they were saying a while ago, they have just several books on a shelf, or like Play-Doh, they had flour and green food coloring, and they just used that to make green Play-Doh to play with. Now the little kids are playing with that. One thing I'd say, I told the kids how no matter how big their dreams are, that even if they do want to be a doctor, or if, like one kid, he wanted to be a robotic engineer or a veterinarian, to never stop pursuing their dream and to keep going with that dream. Even when we pulled out a bag of toys that we went and bought for other kids, they were so excited. Even when me and my friend was with me, when we pulled out the soccer ball, even one soccer ball, all the kids fled into the soccer ball and started playing with it like if it was us, like it was a brand new iPhone, whatever it might be. They were so happy and so joyful with the soccer ball that they got to play with.
Yeah, and there was a young man named Kevin. You just fell in love with Kevin right from the moment you saw him and you guys were playing. Kevin, when we asked everybody to write down, what do you want to be, and what is, if you could ask God for one thing, what would it be?
And the first thing I said was, the one thing that I want is for you guys to never forget me. And that really touched me and probably all of us that were on the trip. And second, he said he wanted to be a professional football player, as in soccer. And so we went out and I got him his very own soccer ball, and I signed it and told him that we'll never forget you. And that was just a great moment, and I got to play with him that day. And we played soccer, and he's really good. And they said that they play soccer up to, how long did it say,
6 hours a day sometimes, because it's all they've got. You know, they come home, and if they can be at the School of Champions, you know, they've got an incredible area there that's been given to them by the government. This is what's amazing. So they have an opportunity to use that land, use that property to really let these kids find themselves, express themselves, and it really has made a difference. Okay, I'm going to jump over to Tony. Tony, you called and said, Staci, we got to keep this going. It can't end here. There's got to be more we can do to be a miracle. And so I'm so thankful, not only for what happened in Mexico, but also what happened between all of us. I think we have more like, love, and trust for one another than ever before. Tony, today when you were on the call, you said that you came home and talked to your wife, and you said, you're people we want to go through life with. Larry and I, we feel the same way about all of you guys, and I think that's what happens when you get off your own turf and get onto foreign soil, and you really make matter most to you, what matters most to God. You find people, you see them in a different light. So, Tony, tell us, close us out here, and then we'll let Larry finish it up. But what did this mean to you, and how can people get involved?
Wow. So thanks for, for putting this together, and everybody from Karen to Donna to Gary to Joe and Alexia and Peyton and yourself. When we have all been changed by what happened. Karen talked about we can't help everybody, but we can help somebody, and we saw people down there that we can definitely help. You talked about teaching them how to fish by giving them electricity, and so they can dream bigger, and see what is out there beyond the poverty that they see around them every day. Gary talked about trusting the leadership down there, and I can unequivocally say that they are people that we can trust with the funds that we send them. Donna talked about verifying their integrity in the ministry of the people down there as well. Joe talked about sustenance and how happy they were just with a half a hot dog, And I can think of all the times that my kids don't eat all their apple or throw the crust away on the bread. I'm like, what are you doing? But it's heartbreaking to think that these children clamor for a hot dog. Alexia was thinking about her own home, and Peyton made an awesome friend in Kevin, and I'm sure he will grow up and be a teenager one day and remember your face and remember the ball that you gave him. But it's in my opinion, it's not just about serving, because there are an infinite number of places that you can give your time, talent, and treasure. But it's also about who you serve with. And I'm honored to have gone down there with all of you and gotten to know each one of you a little better. But I know that the $12,000 that we can raise, that will give them reliable electricity so they can have computers, so they can go and learn about the world that is beyond their reach right now. So that eventually, we're not saying that we want them to go somewhere else in the world. We just want them to know that there's more than what they have, so that if they do become a doctor or a lawyer, that they can help their own community. Some way that they can take what they've learned and reach back and help the people that they have grown up with, their cousins, their friends, their families, their nieces, their nephews. And you know what? With the little things that we can give them, whether it's 12,000 people giving $1, whether it's 120 people giving $1,000, or one person giving $12,000, we can give them something that will change all the lives in that small community. So I'm thankful when I was going down there knowing that I was going not to give miracles, but to receive it. And I have certainly been given an awesome blessing. I'll get back to you.
Well, I know we're coming up on an incredible season, and Larry, every year, we, as most families, we spend a lot of money at Christmas. I know I've got a birthday coming up, and I want my family to know that I don't want any presents this year. I want 100% of what you would normally do for me. I want you guys, I want to give to the School of Champions. I want to build a legacy in this lifetime. I want to know that what we did things that lasted beyond ourselves, the things that we have that are so material here. I love them, and I'm so grateful. But I would love nothing more than as a family and as a group of friends that we can look and say, we made life better for many. Larry, you were such a warrior for us all, and an organizer, and close us out and just give one final ask of the people to participate with us.
First off, the need is great there. It's not like it's not like they're starving, although many times those kids, those adults go to bed hungry because there's just not enough food. The organization is an amazing organization, and they have been, it had favor with the government because the government has given them some property, but that's it. They're not giving them cash. They're not giving them anything else to help sustain what they're doing. It's not just the School of Champions. They have different daycare facilities that have been given to them by the government that they are running and operating solely by the funds that they raise. And the amount of work that they're putting into the community is amazing. I mean, they need refrigerators, they need food, they need all sorts of different things. But when we asked them, you know, what do you need most right now? I mean, without a hesitation, they said they need that transformer. And so we began to ask, you know, how much does the transformer cost, and what would that do for you? And unequivocally, you know, they started telling us all the different things that they could do with the transformer, specifically to go towards education. You know, a lot of these kids that have parents that live around this dump where the School of Champions are, the parents really don't encourage their kids to go to school or to attend any type of class or anything like that. And so they already have a strike, you know, they already have something against them just in their own home that's preventing them from getting a good education. And the School of Champions is there to help incentivize the families to send their kids there to the School of Champions to help educate them, to help with tutoring, you know, to help give them an opportunity in life, not to leave the area to move off to another country like the U.S. or something like that, but just to be an asset to the community there. And these kids now have an opportunity to do that. There are amazing teachers that are volunteering their time there to help educate these kids that normally would not be able to get an education. And this transformer is going to go a long way to give them steady electricity to help them with the lights, with the TV, with things that we take for granted here that they just don't have as a you know, basic necessity. And even go so far as computers. You know, I think back to, you know, Peyton was talking about the young man that wanted to get into robotics. There's no way that he's ever going to have an opportunity to learn anything about robotics without this transformer. Some of these other kids that were wanting to, you know, be a veterinarian and different things like that when they grew up, they won't have that opportunity to become those things or be educated in those things without a computer or without some form of technology to be able to learn from. And because it's not like they have a plethora of books to be able to read from there as well. So first and foremost, they said they needed that transformer, and that's what we're going to do. But we're not going to stop there. Once we've got this transformer in place and up and running for them, we're going to continue on, because I wrote down a long list of things that they need. And you know, this organization has given everything they have to help supply for the needs of these families, for these kids. But they need our help. And for us, they've got our heart, they've got our attention, and they're going to get help from us. And that's what we're doing, is we're asking you guys to help us help them, because like I said at the very beginning, the need is great, and it's going to take us all to come together to help do this together.
And so when you give, you'll be able to give right here on this FundMe page. We want to let you know that for those of you that are willing to give $100 or more, we're actually going to send you one of our Team Solove Missions shirts. You can see on the back, it says, Sé un milagro, which is be a miracle. And that is our Operation Be a Miracle. We want you to know that you can be a miracle with us. Of course, that's just something just to say thank you and to put you on our team so that you really, really know that you are a part of it. Of course, every type of donation, every amount of donation, every dollar counts, because we are shooting for the full $12,000 to make this happen. Anything above and beyond the $12,000, we want you to know that we know exactly where that money is going to be going. We saw the needs ourselves. Oh my goodness, wouldn't it be beautiful to stock the daycares, 4 daycares that the government has given them, said you can have the children. Each daycare has 22 little kids in it, most of them with moms, single moms, or people whose kids are, you know, the parents are in prison or they've got drug issues, and precious, precious children that the government has said help take care of these children, but we're not going to provide any funding for you. So the toys are old toys. The high chairs are old, dilapidated. Some of them are new. Some of them are very, very 13 years old. We know there's so many needs there that we can do to help give these children a chance, and we hope that you will join us. We do believe that we are a miracle, that we are looking for a place to land, and we have found one. And so before you even give, we want to say thank you. We pray a blessing upon you and upon any seed that you would plant into this vision. And we look forward to having that list of names and us being a very special network of people that have truly chosen to be a miracle. God bless you, everyone, and please support this worthy cause.